in tackling topics, this great segment that we've had a lot of success with before. We got a lot of South Africans fans out of it from show one that went down very well. This is a topic of the back of last week. We had Ilona Maher on the show, and she is an enormous star, a global icon. But in social media, there's a few questions like, is she rugby's biggest star? And how do you categorize that? So I thought, Corbs, it'd be good for us to discuss and make an argument as to who else could be in the branding of rugby's biggest star, and then why?
Well, I think keeping with our South African trend, one of the players you have to look at is Siya Kolisi.
Yes,
obviously,
that's a good shout.
World Cup champion back-to-back, but more the man, the story, the coming from almost very humble beginnings to represent South Africa and inspire a whole new generation of players to come up and play this game. For me, as well as what he's done on the field with his rugby ability, I think he's got to be up there. He does have, one of the bigger followings.
He does have well over 1 million followers.
Exactly. Yeah. So to me, obviously, I think he's got to at least be in the equation.
Okay. So our South African fans, they'll probably throw out Peter Steph du Toit in there. Yeah. Throw out all names.
Well, I think you
mention them in the comments.
Best player in the world or biggest star. You know what I mean? And that's what we're talking about a little bit now. And that's where I think Siya probably shines the brightest in that South African team. And in probably maybe other than maybe one other men's player you could bring up, probably across, most of the men's game.
Okay, well done, because that leads me into my opinion in terms of the biggest rugby star in terms of the best player in the world. And I'm going to throw it in there as well, not just the best in a generation, I'd say best ever. I generally put him, Antoine Dupont, in that category. The French scrum half has done it all. He's got a gold medal as well, the sevens. He's been lethal in the 15s game for France, also his club Toulouse. He was back at the weekend playing European rugby and he was silly. It's almost like this guy can do everything. He's also got a really big social media following. I think also the position that he plays is so influential. I think the French media, they have a big rugby media presence. So I feel like anyone in the rugby world knows about Antoine Dupont. He was in Los Angeles not that long ago. He was with the LA Rams, man. I'm thinking to myself, hey, boy, if he's with the NFL, imagine him in the NFL, by the way. That could be silly. I genuinely just feel there's no one that touches the rugby ability that he has, so can be argued as our biggest star. But
Legoat, I like to call him. And I think just like Siya is a... I use that on the NBC broadcast too. It's hilarious. Carry on. But he is obviously like the greatest player of all time.
He is.
And that caliber alone gets him in the stardom question. I will say he's a man of few words.
Yeah, okay.
He is quite a stoic personality, which is kind of like... Yeah, but even then, he's not a big talk. He's not a big media. Like, Siya is everywhere.
True.
Dupont is more renowned for what he does on the field. And that, to me, is...
Like a Caitlin Clark is also... her ability 100%. In basketball is like that.
But I would say she probably has a bit more marketability off-field. Maybe that Dupont still has room to grow in that area, where I think that's where Sia's really smashed it. But for me,
I know there's a but.
There's only one winner. And, bring on the internet trolls who are going to hit me on this one.
I know.
But I think Ilona Maher is clearly rugby's biggest star. And I'll make the case. Yeah. And so for me, I think she is probably, since Jonah Lomu, probably the only rugby star who has just transcended mainstream norms. You know what I mean? She is not just in the rugby echo chamber, one of the greatest, one of the biggest stars. She has bashed down that sort of wall and grown a fan base like no other player since, I think, Jonah Lomu. And I think that she really has the ability to piggyback the women's game, but also the whole sports to new levels. Because let's talk real. Social media, no one can compete with her in rugby. Across multiple platforms, no one can compete.
Millions.
I put it down, commercial earnings. Show me another rugby player around the world who makes more money than her. Don't think it exists. On-field contracts, you could argue.
I was going to say like a Mauro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. £1 million contracts. £1 million contracts in Japan, France. I'm not including. I'm saying commercial revenue from sponsors, from off-field stuff. Ain't anyone even close. Ain't going to be anyone even in the same bracket. She's on the Forbes 30 under 30. You know what I mean? Like, she's absolutely smashing it.
I agree.
And The big thing is rugby is desperate to break the American market. We've got World Cups coming here in 2031 and 33. Everyone's talking about the sleeping giant awakening. The sleeping giant is here, and it's Ilona Maher, and she's the one doing the awakening. She is growing a main stage audience in America, the biggest market in the world, commercially, sports, TV. Tell me anyone who is bigger than her. Genuine. Like, you can line up your rugby players, and I think they're incredible. And then in our little world, I can see an argument that one of them is higher than
we'll probably hear that.
Exactly. Yeah. But on a whole scale, take yourself out of the rugby world. Get your glasses off. Look at the whole picture. It ain't even close, man. It ain't even close. Johnny Wilkinson, love him. Ain't even close.
No, there's not.
Ilona Maher beats them all.
Yeah. And she's got a bronze medal. And she's a very good rugby player as well, by the way.
She's incredible. Like, she's one of the better women in the world in sevens. TBD how 15's going. You can always add her into that bracket as she achieves that. But it's clearly her credentials on the field are right up there. And her, from an American woman, you could argue in her and Lev Kelter, I can't see any other questions. Maybe
they were in the dream team.
Exactly. Maybe a Nia Tapper on body of work as well at times or whatever. But for me, she's right up there with the greatest American woman in the sport with what she's done. And then as a star and off the field, she's just blown it out. She's like Elon Musk. Like, she's just SpaceX is up. She's SpaceX. Like, she's relaunching rockets back down and getting caught. Like, and we're all watching it. Like, that's the sort of stuff that she's bringing. Like, she's doing that when most people are just posting basic stuff.
Oh, that is the analogy we all
take a breath.
Yeah, take a breath. That's been tackling topics. Who is rugby's biggest star? And I think we both saying it's Ilona.